good morning everybody. Nice to see you all again today. Got another week of workshops this week, which I'm really looking forward to sharing with you. It's just so much fun being able to share our ideas, and still getting those lovely emails coming through, and I think you were all pretty busy on the weekend making the designs, so that was just wonderful seeing the emails coming through with the designs that you've done. So yesterday Fred was on a mission, and he was showing you how to make a wooden frame out of an old pallet that engineer Ash had pulled apart, and I tend to raid the wood pile, so this here is just made out of an old pallet. To get the aged look, because I didn't want to have like a solid colour, I used just a paint, and the colour I wanted is my base colour, which is more of a natural colour here, but the engineer said to Fred to use turps first and just wipe that on and then wipe it off, and it actually soaks into the timber. So when you go to brush the spray on, you know, like I did it with a cloth yesterday, or Fred did it with a cloth yesterday, it gives a lovely washed effect, and it looks a little bit more earthy than that solid artificial colour. So that's what we did. Turps first, wipe it off so it's almost dry, and then on a cloth spray the spray, and then wipe that on with a cloth as well, and take the excess off. Also make sure you continually go into the one direction so you don't end up with stripes. Oh, it's nice to see you all. So I've got this really cool idea. I thought I've actually made giant versions of this for big displays and installations, but I thought I'd just show a little miniature version that we could all make. So I've got my timber frame here, and then what actually got me going was I was wandering around the garden, and I found all these licen branches when we were pruning, and I'm like, no, don't cut those, Ash, don't chip them, I want them. I think he just shakes his head sometimes and goes, not again, I'll never get my work done. So anyway, so I went and I gathered a whole lot of licen branches, but I wanted some, see, this is quite a cool one. I really like one that was a bit more branchy, a little bit thicker here, with a few side branches. And then what I decided to do is I'm going to work out how I want to frame it. So I'm lining it up with the frame here. I'm thinking, right, I think I kind of like that branching. So what I'm going to do is, if you have trouble cutting some of these branches, you bring in the heavy artillery. So I've got some really good, these are the ratchet ones, so they're brilliant because you sort of hold it. You need to make sure it's level, so I can't show you this, but I've actually got it between my legs at the minute. And then you just cut it so it's square on the bottom. See how easy that is? I'm not straining it to cut it. I'll put that on there. So now I've got the bottom all nice and flat, or how I want it to sit. If I want it to sit in the frame on an angle, then I would cut it on an angle. So, so I'm going to line that up. Okay, I like the way that's sitting. Now, how am I going to get it so that I'm happy that it's going to fit in that frame? So get your frame, get your bottom piece in first where you want it to sit, then get a marker pen, and then line it and just sort of mark it with your marker pen where you want to cut so that it's going to fit into the frame. Make sure it fits nice and tight though. It's much easier to get it to secure into place if it's tight. So right, I'm going to cut that, and I need to take that one off, so that's easy. Get these smaller ones. I'm just going to cut that. Make sure they're nice and square. And I'm going to come across here, and I think that one there might go. Okay, cut that. Put that in there. Okay, so now I've got my marks where I want to cut this. I'll lay that down so you can see. So now I've got that marked. I want to cut it there and there so it's nice and square. Now I might have to bring the big cutters out if this won't cut, but see how they click, and it makes it so much easier when you've got not very good hands for cutting. Make sure you try and cut it square. Just come across, yeah, or to the angle that you want to cut it. This is where you start pruning, and I know we're all wanting haircuts at the moment, so let's just get a little creative here. Oops, this one won't grow back. So I want my frame to sit like this. Okay, just about right. So what I now need to do is take a bit of these side shoots off. Might need to take a little bit more off the top. You're better to take a little bit off at a time than cut it all too, a bit like a bad haircut really. A little bit at a time, and then you'll get it to fit, rather than going, oops, you know. So I'll keep cutting that till I'm happy with it. that in the frame. Now that's going to sit nice in there. But I'm going to take the side shoot off here and cut that one so it fits into the frame. So we're trying to get into a bit more of the environmental designing. So this here is it is a very environmental design, and it's framing. You can get some beautiful textures in the garden and bits of timber. Now that's jammed in nice and tight, so that's going to hold. But I don't want to risk that by the time I put flowers in. So other things you can do is if you wanted to, you could give it a friend. So I've pre-cut this one. I thought, yeah, we don't. Now, something I decided I didn't like is I didn't like the sticks up and down. I like it to look like it's still continuing to grow, and you're just looking through your window at home and you're looking at, and you just see the outline of the trees and the textures and the pattern that the stems create. So I thought I kind of liked that one in there too, so I'm going to put 2 in there. But we need to secure them. So then I got my drill. Got to get the drill. Hi everyone. Get your drill. Work out some nails. Now don't go too big or too thick, but you want them long enough that they're going to go down through the frame and into the timber on the top. So, and then get the drill piece that is actually just slightly smaller in diameter. Now there is a thing called a micrometer. I think that's what it's called. Actually the engineer's out in the garden, so I can't check with that. But it checks the thickness of the whatever you're measuring. And then, so what I've done is I've measured that just with my eye really, because I didn't want to get too technical. So I've just got the nail, and that's slightly bigger than the drill bit, so it'll actually hold it nice and tight. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the drill bit in, just like Fred showed you yesterday. Dear old Fred, he's a bit of a worry, you know. And then tighten it up. Now, when you're drilling into timber, use the high speed. Line it up where you think you're going to drill. Line it up. And then drill in. Put another one over here just to secure that to the side. Hopefully it'll line up. And then I'm going to do another one here. So blow all the dust away. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get our nails. I'm just going to nail that into place. And because you've pre-drilled, you're not banging like crazy. You just give it a little tap and it'll go where you've drilled. That'll hold it. And I'm going to do this other one down the other end. Now this is a really cost-effective way if you're wanting to do a really big frame of getting a really interesting mechanic as a divider, or something interesting that you want to do for a big installation, or just have around the home as a divider as you come in the entranceway or in the garden. Now I'm going to turn that upside down, and I'm just going to do the same thing at the bottom. I'm going to line it up. Probably should do the bottom first actually. It's slightly thicker there. And I'm going to do another one right here. I'll put the drill out of the way. We're finished with that at the moment. Drill bits can go over there. Get a couple more nails. Bring that over where I had it. Nothing like a bit of nailing and a bit of banging. Good morning, everyone. Oh, it's lovely to see you. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over this way, clean off my bench a little bit. And now we've got a really cool mechanic for a design. And like I say, you can go as big as you want, as small as you want. You can have them going vertical, horizontal, just whichever way. But yeah, it's just like you're walking past a window and you see the trees. I'll just have a little drink of water. Right. Now that we've done that, I'm just going to lay that over here out of the way. So now we need to think about the water source. What are we going to put our flowers in? Well, I had a couple of options. Now some of you are saying, Francine, we haven't got any test tubes. Little bottles work really well. But because this is quite an organic design, I don't want to see glass in the design. So what we're going to do is I've got other options. You can use fruit. Pop a tube in the fruit. That looks kind of cool. Depending on what you're using in your plant material, a bit of dust from the little bags, plastic bags. I know we're trying to be environmentally friendly, but if you haven't got anything else, you could always use these, but then cover them. You could put them just a little bit of bark or something like that, or a bit of lichen, glue lichen to it. I've got here, what I like to use are the test tubes. So to keep it so that it's going to disappear in the design and you can't see the water source and it's keeping in line with the plant material we're using, I'm actually going to use some tubes. I've got the lichen. I went and grabbed a whole lot of lichen off our trees yesterday. Now how did I do that? Very easy. Put it on your finger because you've got to have it there. Makes it easy instead of getting sticky all over. And then just put your cold glue. If you haven't got cold glue, that's fine. I'll show you another concept because glues might be a bit hard for you to get at the moment, but a bit of glue. Doesn't have to, just something that dries quickly, but preferably not elephant glue. You could be a permanent fixture. So we don't want that either. So then I've got all my lichen in here in little strips that I've pulled off the tree really carefully, and then just lay them on the cold glue. And then turn it around so you can see the other bits and fold your lichen around. Just put it on, and I really like the texture that we're bringing through. Now I'm thinking, well, I don't want to get my hands all dirty. So if you do this, it makes it a lot easier. Get a bag, lay it in the bag, and then just squish it together. Then you're not going to get all sticky, but make sure the bag's the right way around. Before I did it, and then I thought, well, that was silly because now I've done it on the wrong side and I'm covered in glue. So now you've got a nice natural looking water source for your plant material. So that is a really good way of doing it. So I'll pop that up out of the way. Now we're going to bring our branch back up. Our frame, paper coated wire, the Oasis binding wire. It's nice and fine. You can use the German one too. It's the one that's a lot finer than this and a lot tougher, but this is fine for what we're doing. Try and keep it fairly neutral. Don't go to a colour. If you're using dark sticks, you can get this in chocolate brown. If you're using fresh green sticks, you can get it in the green, so it'll disappear into your mechanics. But the best thing about using a lichen or something that's like this, that's a little bit more textured, is when you do the tubes, you don't have to wrap these around twice. I don't want to pre-cut all my wire the same thickness, the same length, because some of these sticks vary in their thickness. So then I'm going to do two ties. Do two ties. You can go around twice if you forget, doesn't matter. But the idea is when you actually put the wire in, you want your two little legs sticking out. See how it almost disappears, so you're not seeing that. And then turn your frame around. Or actually, I'll do it from the front so you can see. Open them up. Go round the side of your branch, and if you see here, you can't actually see that as much as if we use just glass or plastic, because we want an organic looking design. And this is an environmentally friendly one. I'm using glass, paper coated wire, natural plant material, of course. Now another secret is when you tie them, if you're doing this from both sides, I would make sure I tied that round here, and then I'd get a little bit of cold glue and put a bit of moss on there so you couldn't see the tie. So I had tubes coming from both sides when I do the big ones. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that wire, and I'm going to leave it with like a little bit of a piece on the end and fold it round. That's because these are fresh, and when they dry they'll shrink, and I don't want the tubes to slip down, so it means I can twitch them up and make them a bit tighter. Again, I'm going to cut that. A bit of dust in me. Right, so now when you turn it back round, it disappears. So we've got a great little water source in your design. So I'll grab another tube. And I've been loving all the work you're doing. You're doing some magic stuff out there. And even the other people that are presenting and showing other little workshops, oh, it's so diversified, and you see all the different designers and their styles and their ideas. So it's all about sharing at the moment. And then you'll get to see why we're so passionate about our flowers. So I'm going to pop that one in there. I don't want them all at the one height, so I'm just going to, this gives a little bit of, when I put the plant material in, it takes a rhythm. We want colour and flowers to flow through. So twitch that up again. Make it nice and tight. Oh, went wrong way. Tight again. Twist around. Well, I maybe might put a third one in here. Maybe I might put it up a little bit higher. So again, I'll tie that one. So I said just to put in a few that you've got. Oh, it is lovely to see you all. I'll reply to you all again later too. Oh, hello in Canada. I can see the Canadian flag up there. So hello in Canada. Hello in the US. Hi. Lovely to see you all. And it's lovely, like I say, to hear from you. Oh. And all those in England that have stayed up very, very late, in Ireland and Wales and Scotland. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to pop this one up here, but I'm going to take it a little bit more around to the back, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to hide, because if you look, I wanted to show you, it's very, very, you've got to be careful when you do your mechanics, because sometimes you put things, oh, well, I've done it, but I've bound it round. But make sure you look at the way that you can easily interrupt your eye within your designing. What I mean by that is, if you're looking up to this design close, you'll see, you can see the line here of the paper coated wire. So it's going to disturb my flow of my eye through the design. So what I'm going to do is this here, get my little bin of trusty lichen, bit of glue. Takes about 30 seconds, remember, to become air active. And then we're just going to pop that over like that. So it looks like it's actually part of the tree and it's hiding that mechanic. So if you see something that, oh, I don't like the way that's going, don't be afraid to stick something on it so long as it's keeping in line with what you're doing. So now we've got our vials in. This is all nice and secure and stable. My table's a little bit uneven, that's why it's wobbling. Fill it up with your test tube filler. Like I say, I did have a syringe, but I had way too much fun with that syringe. Ash used to say, in it, not at it. So now what I'm going to do here is just give a bit of a tidy up. A bit of a clean up here. Now if you want to, you can add more branches in, but I like the clean line. So that's why I didn't want to have too many broken forms. I want that to now come from our plant material that we're going to use in the tubes. Oh, that's right. Someone said, Francine, I haven't got any glue. What can I do? It's all right. France to the rescue. You can use a narrower sellotape. Sellotape, turn it on itself so it's sticky on the outside. Wrap it round so it's all sticky and tacky. Bring up your lichen and just stick it to the sellotape. And you'll end up with exactly the same result as the cold glue. So don't panic. If you haven't got it, there's always options. And if you're not sure, just keep emailing me. I've had a couple say, but Francine, what can I do here? Very happy to share an alternative for you. Right, so now that we've got that done, I'll have a bit of a tidy up so I can bring the flowers. So we've got that there. Now what I've got is I just went and walked around the garden to see what was out at the moment. This looks beautiful if you're using tulips or specialty flowers. The rhythm of the tulips, you can use the stem to give rhythm through your design, or xanthodeschus as well. But I didn't have those, so, oh look, wonder what she's got. Oh, I think she might have some dahlias in the garden. We had a really good rain over the weekend and quite a storm, so I also have some Iracema. Look at them, aren't they cute? I thought they were kind of yummy, so I've got those as well. Just some of the foliage off those too, so hi everyone. Then I thought, well, maybe I might like to use these leaves. I rather like the little mini Xanadu. They're the philodendron Xanadu, but if you wanted to use an elongated leaf, it's really good to follow the line in the way that they're making your eye flow through the design. Other options, if you wanted a design that was going to last for a while, you can always put in some air plants, tuck some air plants in if you want to have those with your flowers. Other options is you can put some succulents in if you want to use succulents. One that I really like to use on the big framework is I love to use bulbs, because I like the roots all hanging down through the branches. So these are a bit out of scale and proportion, is really important. These are too big for this design, but you might have some that are smaller in the bulb, like a smaller bulb like that, that you could actually use. So do think about scale and proportion. Right, so now I'm just going to put a few leaves in my design. Think about the eye flowing through the design, how I want it to wander, meander through. Don't have it all where it's just sitting in a two-dimensional, where this is a two-dimensional shape just about, but to give it a bit more third dimension, I'm actually going to just take some of these so they face slightly outwards. And again, make it so the eye comes back into the design. Then I'm just going to pop in a couple of these here, the dahlias. And I just love them. My favourite flower is actually the bearded iris. I love the bearded iris. So I'm going to turn that way, and I want the back of that flower to give me a little bit of interest in the design. Put another one down in through here. I hope that's looking okay from the front because I can't see it from the back. But sort of now I'm giving a nice bit of rhythm. It's looking a bit too equal, which is like a little bit too traditional in the placements. So what I might do is lift that one up just ever so slightly, so it's not so equal. And I'm going to give a little bit of rhythm by popping in some of the erythema here. So popping in just a couple of these, and that can come down, just wander in through the design. Actually, I might cut that a little bit shorter. I'll pop that one in there actually. And just taking my eye through. It's a little bit of rhythm. You've got to give it a beat. I always say with designs, you've got to give it a beat. Depends what music you're in, I suppose. I don't want to cross the line. I want to take it down. So I'm just going to pop that one there. And these are great because they're quite flexible. And then you can use the mechanic to hold it. I might do one more out through here. That one in there just to give it a little bit up into the idea, into the design like so. I did say to pop a few berries in if you wanted some berries. Just see if I bought my snowberries. Did I bring them up? I might not have brought them up. You can also give it a little bit more rhythm if you wanted to use a little bit of the, this is the clematis and it holds really well. So you could put that in if you want to give it a bit more rhythm. I wanted to keep this quite clean. I'll just leave it like that at the moment. So that's showing you that concept and that design. And you could just see that on a little sideboard showing off your specialty flowers. I just thought it was kind of sweet. Just a different way of doing it. But what I thought I'd do is I'd show you one that I've been working on here with just what I had in the garden. This is how you can do them on a really, really big scale. This one here, all I've done is I've used the clematis and the clematis in this one, and I've just given it a little bit of textural rhythm by using just one piece of the asparagus fern and some leaves of For My Honesty, just to show you another look. So I'll put some better pictures up a bit later so that you can have a little look at that. Lots and lots of options with frames, building all sorts of different mechanics in them. And it's really lovely to see you all, and I want you to have a wonderful day. For those that are about to go to bed, have a good night's sleep, and I will see you again tomorrow.